Hey everyone, my name is Iran. I'm a developer advocate here at Snyk. I talk to developers a lot, to security people, and today I actually want to talk to you and share my own experiences and my ideas of making security fun and top of mind for developers. So let's get started. I kind of want to make it into a problem statement first and talk about this thing where we want to get security to be an important aspect of the development cycle for developers. And so out of the times, I think that application security teams and divisions come up with ideas like, how do we do security awareness through maybe like a web-based activity for developers? Potentially number two would be things like, emailing employees with security updates and practices that they should follow and, just general awareness and get them through that. Or, even more, I think, having that silver bullet that security teams always go to, right? It's how do we turn them into a security champion? And I think that's a first statement. And I was thinking that to myself, like, yeah, okay, I think maybe that could go. That's like an easy pull from the OWASP playbook. And everyone are doing it. Everyone are talking about security champions and security champion programs and things like that. So maybe I will give it a go myself too. And I did. In my previous job, I was a engineering manager in an R&D division, and I had his on and off interactions with application security activities myself. And I was all in with the application security team, and I was totally on board with their mission as well of making sure that we build secure applications. We're aware of those kind of things like secure coding and the dependencies we use and things like that. How do we deploy it to production? And so with that blessing, I fully supported, the team, and specifically my teammate Sebastian, who went on to basically be that security champion of the team of the R&D division. And we had spent significant cycles through our sprints to basically do things like awareness training and share the security findings that we've done. Sure, if we had fixed any security issues, we would share that. So we, as developers, we kind of like spoken to developers themselves and wanted to especially kind of like share our experience and our learnings. And we did that through different ways. We also kind of we ended up really enjoying that. And even as a small dev team for us, we printed out things like best practices cheat sheets on a paper, kind of like have that nylon thing, and it had information and guidelines that were very specific to our own organizations and like our own development processes as well, and like how to follow secure guidelines for that. So we kind of like made those and share that and like made sure that each developer has it on their own desk. So when they come off after things like code reviews and other activities of like their day-to-day activities, they would go ahead and could look at it and have it as a reference. And the case is, I think that indeed many AppSec, and leaders generally kind of want to care about, having that security outreach and kind of go, I think, as a default to like, again, pull off the security champion thing out of the AppSec, bag of tools. It's a security champion as a program, as a person. It sounds kind of like a magic wand that you just, wave it around and potentially get developers to immediately, right, like comply and be the happiest person in the world because they got this title of a security champion. I think only to find out that sometimes this isn't really mostly the case. And I kind of want to iterate quickly through some of the factors of, how you run security champions program that could actually be hindering its success, and also include kind of that point of view for myself from as a developer. So I want to begin with you about why your way of maybe building a security program could fail. So if we can dive into it, I think the straight off thing, we can we are tasking security champions with things to do. So you can set the guidelines and ask security champions to make sure everyone follow them, right? Like that's a basic thing. Do you want to add a new, third-party dependency? Okay, let's file a ticket and review it. And if you want a new feature getting developed, for the product, okay, let's have a security review. Let's have a meeting and do maybe a threat modeling session to understand more about it. And then at the end, of course, congrats on being a security champion. Can we make sure the team has some KPIs to clear the backlog, like your amount of expected security fixes or upgrades or whatever. And I think as you go through this, it's all kind of like makes sense. Both, by the way, as a developer and a security person, I think like that's common sense. That's okay. There's nothing surprising there. and it's okay for the business too. But I think if you kind of like think about what all of those things have in common to them is that they're all chores, right? Even though there's like genuine impact and importance to all of those, still they are all chores, and what we kind of need to do is as developers is do them, but not because we want to sometimes, but because we're asked to do them, we're tasked to do them. And tasks are boring. So what do we end up doing? The thing that everyone can like end up doing when they don't want to do something, we're procrastinating them. And that's one of the reasons why security adoption stagnates in an organization. And that's one I want to kind of give you another aspect to it, which is, let's say that security champion thing worked, right? Like, let's say you were successful attracting one developer of like a 35 R&D division engineering group, and you have that security champion there. They're doing really great work. That's like great success. In a year from now, though, you're gonna face what all engineering orgs face, which is what they want to face, right? What they wish to face is that hyper growth cycle. So down the line, your company is going to go from 50 devs to 200 devs and 500 devs and 1,000 devs and more. So the question then becomes really, out of that one-off success, how do you like scale the security process, the security program, and the championship around it, like the spirit that you've had to accommodate your engineering or growing? Like, how do you make it not an issue where it's inevitable that you face the 1 to 100 ratio of like a developer to a security person to developers? I think that's something that's definitely there to talk about. And then the last one is definitely all in and around the program just end up becoming, I think, repetitive, right? That's kind of my last one here is meetings and more meetings and sending a vulnerability report, reviewing a vulnerability report, doing this and that training. There's effectively kind of like nothing in your program that levels up champions in an engaging way. And I kind of like want to ask, and figure out like, hey, can we do it differently, right? What if there's another way to approach developers? What if instead of thinking about chores, thinking about program tasks, right, and meetings, we would kind of make it pure fun in the way that we attract them, we talk to them, the activities that they do, among everything else. It's all very important, but how do we kind of like tap into the traits that make developers, genuinely curious, genuinely intrigued, and kind of like care about what they do? And this is where I kind of want to take kind of my suggestive approach, my recommendation here. So this is where the AppSec games begin, in a sense. So here's what I kind of like want to suggest is, guess what? You're kind of like already doing games with AppSec. You just kind of like didn't realize it. And so if you're in AppSec, right, chances are that you've had a chance to play a game or two, which was fun, which you were very curious about. And I would bet that when you were playing that game, you're also learning new things. And I want to call that game Capture the Flag, right? No surprise, CTFs. It's one of the most popular hacker games. Every conference, every user group, people play it all around. It's a great way to kind of like engage and have fun and like just hack around things. And it's right. It's kind of like the obvious thing. Yeah, of course, CTFs are fun. This is essentially a game, and those CTF competitions work incredibly well. Really, because I believe engineers and scientists and developers and hackers are all deeply curious at heart. They are intrigued by details and phenomena that they can't explain. And their first instinct is, let's uncover the curtain. Let's gain a deep understanding of why things work the way they do. And a capture the flag activity kind of like tunes exactly into that, like very, very well. It provides hackers with a platform they can safely explore without, being afraid of whatever catastrophe would happen if they, do something, bad to it. They can showcase their ability, and I think most importantly, learn new skills, learn new, gain new knowledge that they could then apply and just share with friends. And so CTFs, isn't called a competition for no reason, right? They seek to be the best, those who participate in it. And this is kind of like why all of those CTF games like feature a leaderboard, of course, like who has managed to fix the most vulnerabilities in their apps, who has managed to find the most flags and discover the most difficult and obscure security issues. Which team came on top? Leaderboard, just like that, with computer games having a notion of like high score, kind of tap into that experience where you kind of want to figure out who is the best. Here's another game I kind of want to give you as a reference. This is a security game I really like. It's from Lakera. It's a cybersecurity startup that builds a Gen AI security platform. And they've kind of realized that even with all the hype around AI, LLMs, ChatGPT, all of that advancement made throughout the last couple of years, there's foundational knowledge around AI security as basic as things like, sometimes prompt injection and all the myriads of ways it can be employed are new and difficult to grasp. So they decided to build a game that teach everyone about, what could potentially go wrong if you want to do things like that. And so if you do practice, prompt injection, I kind of want to show you how this actually plays out. So in this kind of game, you are taking the role of, trying to get Gandalf to disclose the password, and this is like an active game where you try to level up, and each time you try to level up and guess the password, it's going to be a lot harder to do that. So you got to go through like this prompting process, and I'll save you the effort in trying to like go through that adventure yourself to be able to try and pass through all of those challenges. Another one is a game we actually built called Dependency Frost. And in this game, it's kind of fun because you're trying to like escape potential issues related to dependencies. They could be vulnerable, they could be malicious, and this game begins where you're trying to be that patch person, the mascot. You're actually the dog, and you're trying to do your best to jump over these obstacles. And I think as you go through this experience of a game where there's sound, or there's like sound effects, there's like a background music, there's a Hall of Fame. You're this dog, trying to escape all of those npm packages. You don't know if they're like vulnerable, if they're malicious. Jump through. You see the high score kind of like going through. It's a nice platform game where you discover potentially also like maybe packages you didn't really know that existed or not. And as you kind of level up, there's like also some stuff that you can collect along the way, right? Like there's like this Snyk score thing, which gives you some superpowers, like potentially making you jump higher. And that kind of like alludes to like, why should I jump higher? Like what's coming up next? So it kind of taps into a lot of those things, and you just collected a Snyk monitor flag thing, which makes you unbeatable, I would say. And you kind of like discover, hey, there's a security vulnerability that just killed you, right? And I think through that way you kind of like have more fun. And we've used this, we've applied it into conferences, and there's like always a lot of people in and around trying to play. We kind of like added a very cool kind of like joystick component to it as well. It's a fun way of doing this. And so kind of like jumping through all of those cases where things kind of like look really well, I kind of like want to go through like one other one, which is a more engineering, I would say, more technical one experiment I was trying because I was like more involved around CLIs and command line applications and stuff like that. I was keen on making it a bit more fun and prettier, and just like make it easy to work. So if you're a JavaScript developer, you kind of like you go through like this process where you install a bunch of packages, you get a result resembling this kind of like console output. There's like a lot of data here. There's like a lot of information. I specifically here use npm audit. Snyk Test does I think a better job just giving you a prettier output and advice of what to do. But the default experience here is for developers is kind of awful, right? They're like just a lot of information and context. They really do not know what to do. And can we do better? Can we like install something else? And it had me thinking of what could I do. And I ended up building this app where, again, it's a CLI, just run it. It uses Snyk Test behind the scene. It gets all of those vulnerabilities at the end of it and prints, 3 groups of information that really speak to developers. Like, you can separate them by dependencies in production dependencies or development dependencies and other things. You could take it further and like animate it and do other things as well if you wanted to, to step away from here. But I'm gonna leave you off with this. I'm gonna just say, let's make security fun, and they will come. So thank you so much, and have fun and enjoy the conference.